Cool. Welcome, Kelly. Thank you for coming today to have a little chat to us. I gather you've just come back from holiday too. How was it? Do you feel refreshed and relaxed and ready to go?
As refreshed and relaxed as you can be with two small boys on holiday.
Okay,
It
yeah.
was fun. It was lots and lots of fun. And yes, stepping away from work is usually quite difficult for me, but it felt very good. And yeah, lots of insights, lots of downloads, but lots and lots of fun.
Brilliant. So tell us, what is it you do? How did you get into the world of what you do?
So I'm a manifesting coach. I help people to reconnect to their dreams and desires. I help people to ignite that passion within them, and then I help them to embrace and embody those goals and desires. And then I teach people the tools and techniques that they need to make those dreams a reality.
Brilliant.
And I came into this very much because I believe that everybody is born with the ability to dream, the ability to create whatever it is that they want to create, no matter their background or what the circumstances are that they're born into. We all have the same makeup in that respect.
Yeah.
And along the way, we lose that childhood ability. We lose touch with the belief and the magic of what powerful creators we are. And of course, there's certain circumstances that create that, whether that's through society or whether that's through the circumstances that you're born into and the belief systems that you start to generate. Whatever it is, we lose it. And I'm on a mission to help people reconnect back to that childhood playfulness, that creativity within them that allows them to dream and to create anything that they desire. And one of the things that led me, one of the paths that led me to this in particular was I've been a coach for quite a while now, and I started to see patterns with the people I was working with, and especially with women. I work with men and women, but I found patterns, especially with women, that when they became adults, when they got married or had children in particular, they started to forget how to have dreams for themselves. They sacrifice a lot. They start dreaming for their children, for their partner, for the collective, and they forget to connect back into themselves and what they truly want. And that, I actually found that very devastating. Having been on a journey myself where I've always been a glass half full type of person rather than a glass half empty. I've always had a positive spark and a positive spin on things. But I went through a bit of a transformation when I started my own coaching journey with my coach that allowed me to see things in a whole new way, that allowed me to connect to myself in a new way. And that for me was life-changing.
Brilliant.
And transformational. And ever since then, I've just wanted to spread that joy, spread that creativity, spread that playfulness into anyone and everyone that will listen to me.
Perfect. And so, how long have you been doing it for?
So I've been a coach. So I've been on my own journey for about 7 years now. And I've had a coach for pretty much most of those 7 years. I'm a massive advocate for coaches. But for me, personally, I've now been a coach for 3.5 years.
Right.
And I have evolved my coaching style. I was trained a certain way, and that was amazing. But as I've evolved as a coach, I've become more and more niche, and my expertise have grown in certain areas that I just managed to, like I said, just really help people to uncover all those blocks and the things that are holding them back, but really connecting with their passions.
Mm. Sounds very magical. I like that a lot. Mm.
That is a word that I use daily. Magic. It's all magic. And I feel very privileged that I get to see the magic come alive in people every day, whether it's a, like I just said, I've just come back from holiday, whether it's a conversation I've had with somebody in the pool, or whether it's somebody on the aeroplane. It's being able to see that spark in their eye when we have a conversation that ignites something within them. And where that goes next, I don't know every single time, but I do know that I've sparked something, and that just brings me so much joy.
Lovely. Beautiful. I'm all in favor of magic. I've been writing a few posts in this group about magic recently, so it's a well-timed interview to chat with you about it. And so did you know, my question is, when you first started to receive coaching, did you know that you were then going to go on and become a coach yourself, or was that not part of your thought process?
Absolutely not, no. And actually, when I spoke to my coach and told her that I had this revelation, I was like, oh, Jodie, I know what I want to do. She's like, what? I want to be a coach. She was like, thank God, because she had seen it, and she had watched the journey and the process, and now I'm a coach. I know that evolution myself well. But when she first mentioned it to me, I was like, oh no, that's not me at all. I'm not a coach. And I came up very much from a corporate background. I worked in marketing for almost 20 years in the corporate world for big financial institutions, NatWest, RBS, Barclays. Very masculine energy within those environments. And yeah, I was very, very much in the corporate, what I call corporate restraints. I was starting to feel, I chose the career. When I think back on my journey, I absolutely manifested the life that I had, and it wasn't a life that I was unhappy in.
I certainly financially rewarding, hey?
yeah. I loved the people that I worked with. I always had a love for marketing. I always had a love for people. And so in that respect, I was very happy doing what I was doing, but I felt like there was a void. I felt like there was something missing, and I wasn't sure what that was. I remember waking up one morning, and my husband was laying next to me, very happily married. I had one child at the time, and was very much in love with him. And I had a beautiful house. I was living in Windsor, a place that we really, really wanted to be. I had a great job, like I just said, but something was missing. And I just remember waking up thinking, I should be bouncing out of bed full of, real joy that I've just, I'm living the life that I wanted and that I've created. But I'm not. I'm happy, but I'm not static. I'm not feeling fireworks. And I knew I had the ability to do that. And that was, for me, the wake up. The morning I woke up and said, there's more. There's more. I have more to give, and there's more inside of me that wants to come out. And that was one morning. And then we went through a bit of a life-changing circumstances. And my husband walked out of his job because he was just at the end of what he was able to cope with at the time. And I remember just walking into town, walking into the bookshop to buy him a book, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to fix everything, but I wanted to be able to do something. And a book fell off the bookshelf into my hands, and I knew as soon as I saw it that that book was for me. And I read it within days, and it changed my life. And I contacted the woman who had written the book, and I said, I want to work with you. And that was the start of my coaching journey.
Oh, wow.
So when I started that, I had no idea where it was going to lead me. I had no idea what was going to unfold. I just knew that it was something that I needed to do. And it was life-changing, and I've never looked back. My life has been completely different from the moment that book fell into my hands. And I'll be forever grateful for my first coach for that opportunity to work with her, and it's just to open my eyes. I always feel like it was just like a moment where the curtains opened and I just could see through the window so much more clearly.
Fabulous. And so when this book fell out, what do you think? How do you believe in spirit? Do you think it was a external, your spirit guide somehow sending you that?
Absolutely. And actually, as you've just said that, I've just got goosebumps all the way from my toes all the way up my body. Absolutely. I mean, I've always had a spiritual nature inside me. I've always had an inner witch, but I suppressed her for a very long time. From a child, I allowed myself to experiment with that, and then I became a teenager and started to hide it. Right. But I've always been very intuitive. And at the time when the book fell out, like I said, I looked and I thought, oh, this is for me. It was a real knowing that I needed to buy that book that day and I needed to read it now. And when I now piece back and look back and put all the dots together, absolutely, my spirit guides were there, telling me that I was ready. Right. It was weeks between that time of waking up that morning saying there's something more, and me opening myself up to what that might be, to that book landing in my hands.
Amazing. And so did your husband get his book in the end?
He did. He did. I came home with 2 books.
Oh, good.
He did. And he read it, I think, more out of obligation, because I bought it for him. He was on a very different journey to myself, and I respect and love that. We have a very magical relationship, but there were times when things were challenging for us individually, and
that change is challenging in itself, isn't it? Just to
absolutely
adjusting to a new way of life, a new way of living. And certainly I know from the perspective of being self-employed, coming from employment to self-employment is never easy, and it's always challenging. You're always kept on your toes trying to work out. You don't have that certainty anymore that you knew every month that's coming in, and then you might, if you're lucky enough to have, like I did, a job where I got a bonus every year, you had that almost certainty. It was a different world, I think, very much. And so it's very challenging to come to that. But also, did you struggle in any way in terms of that status, that I am this in the city sort of person, to I'm this, what's this now, that how do I say that at a party? It's like that sort of, how do you tell someone at a party what you do for a living? Did you have a challenge with that? And because my ego certainly did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an identity shift, isn't it? And when you're not quite sure of that identity yourself, if you haven't fully embraced and connected with that yourself, it's really hard to convey it to somebody else. And so that was a journey within itself. I always say me starting my own business and having my own business has definitely been one of my biggest spiritual awakenings. There's lessons every single day to help elevate me and challenge me and help me to grow. It's definitely been one of my biggest spiritual growth. But yes, it was challenging. It was exciting at first. I embraced it. I didn't know what was going to happen. I actually, when I first started my business, I started it as a marketing consultant, because marketing is what I'd always known. But in the background, I was also training to become a coach. So I struggled with that element of it, actually, because I was doing what I knew really, really well, and what people expected of me. But I wasn't doing what was really lighting me up. And so and also, like you said, there's that ego part as well. I worked in the city. I was very much brought up in the 80s, where it was sort of like power women wearing suits and high heels, and looking like they were doing it all. And that was definitely me. I remember stepping foot into Barclays in Canary Wharf and thinking, yes, I've made it. I'm here. I've made it.
Absolutely. I mean, that is like one of the top institutions that you can say, absolutely, it is in one of the top locations as well. That is a definite marker, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the people around me, my parents were so proud. They were proud of me as well. And so there was a status attached to that, absolutely. And so to let go of that status was very hard. It wasn't an easy thing to do. Having said that, I have such an amazing support system around me. My husband is incredibly supportive. He believes in me more than I believe in myself. My peers could all see something else in me that I didn't see at the time. As I've mentioned, I've always had a coach, and that has been a massive support for me to really help me navigate through those barriers and those times of doubt. And so I'm very grateful for the support I've had, and that really helped me to start embodying who I was becoming, knowing that I had people around me who believed in me and that were there to catch me if I was to fall, because there's always that failure part, isn't there? There's always that part, what if this doesn't work out? It's the unknown, it's the uncertainty. What if I go into this and I let my family down, that they rely on me? And so there was that inner struggle with that. But like I said, I have such an amazing network of people around me that I'm very, very grateful for, and that I'm still growing. I'm still growing that network. We're part of the Affinity Networking Ladies, and to be surrounded by other women who are being courageous, who are owning their truth, who are owning their voice, who are stepping out into the world and embracing another part of them that they've never even met before. I think it's magical to be in that space, and that for me is continuing to grow as my journey grows.
It is a wonderful, wonderful space, and I have grown myself, and in spite of being in business for 15 years, there's always change that you can do, and things that you can learn, and ways in which you can grow. But it's been a wonderful, wonderful place to be a part of, isn't it? And continue to be a part of. So I guess as a coach, you're ever evolving. Is there change ahead? What's your plans for the future? What do you see yourself doing, and how do you want your business to continue?
So I've worked with one-to-one clients for a long time. As I mentioned, I had a marketing consultancy, which I let go at the beginning of this year, which wasn't easy. because it was starting to become successful, as in, you know, it was bringing in a good income for me to be able to continue to do that. But my love was really really in helping people to, like I said, you know, really connect, really embrace with their passions and their goals and their dreams. And in all honesty, I am a magnificent manifester. I have manifested some incredible things in my life, particularly in the past 3 years, consciously. So obviously there's a difference between everyday manifesting, which we do every second of every day, to consciously manifesting. You know, what do you really want and how are you going to go after those? And for me, that, you know, I would talk to my coach or I would talk to my my clients, and I would really help support them on that journey, on their own manifesting journey, and I would share my stories, and I would be, you know, really inspiring, and I was really able to help motivate people to go after their dreams. But I was keeping that very small. I was keeping that to a very small select group of people because there was a part of me that was fearing being judged. There was a part of me that still felt like there's a wider network of people who might think that I am a bit too woo, that was, you know, turning into somebody that they didn't recognize anymore. And that put the fear in me until earlier this year, when I had a massive nudge and a massive calling to come out of the closet, if you like, to really step out and to say,
and how did that take shape? What was the nudge?
I would like to say it was just, I woke up one morning and it was there, but it wasn't. It had been a long time coming. It was little things, little synchronicities. Through meditation, through my journaling, there was this inner voice that kept saying, you're ready, you're ready. It's your time. You are a trailblazer. You are here to make a difference in your unique way. You know, don't be afraid. And it was those little nudges that then led me, and a conversation, a massive heart to heart with my husband as well, around enabling me to really step out and own who I am and what I'm here to do. And as soon as I let people know, as soon as I sent those emails, as soon as I put the posts up on social media for the world to see, I felt a massive sense of liberation. I felt liberated. Brilliant. I felt like I could breathe. I felt like I could walk down the street and just, it was just, I felt like I had just won the lottery. It was like, I'm embracing who I am. And that for me felt incredible, like I said, liberation. And that to me was a sure sign that I was doing the right thing. So to answer your question around where do I see this going next, I currently have a membership where I deliver daily whispers from the universe. So for me, manifesting should be playful. It should be joyful. It should be creative. It shouldn't feel heavy. It shouldn't feel onerous. It shouldn't feel like something that's on our to-do list when we wake up in the morning and feel like, oh, I've got to do that meditation to help me to get the dream house or the holiday that I want. It should be a journey that is fun. And as part of my manifesting journey, that's definitely how I've embraced it. And I wanted to bring that to others. And so I used to have circles of women that used to bring together for 40 days, and I would deliver a message to them every day that would help raise their vibration and that they would connect in a different way, whether that was through a short meditation. These were 5 minutes long. They're not long at all. They were there to help people to develop that muscle, to develop that getting out of bed and doing something small, like brushing your teeth. You know, it takes 2 minutes. I wanted them to be very small. I wanted them to be very playful and creative. And it was something that would sort of like kickstart people into their day. And so I used to do that for 40 days, and it was magical and it's lovely and I loved it. But it would come to the end of the 40 days and people wanted more and I wanted more. And so I decided to open that up as a membership. So my membership's relatively new, and it's growing and it's delicious and it's lovely. But I'm already feeling the nudges of how that's going to evolve. That's going to definitely become something so much more. And so that's an area that I'm growing. I want to continue working with my one-to-one clients. I love them so much, but I'm definitely here to work with groups of people. I light up when I'm with groups of people, and I hold space for them. So when I do my workshops, or when I do deliver in speaking environments, that's when I come alive. I bounce off of other people, and so the groups are definitely within my realm to expand and grow. And also courses. I used to do marketing courses. When I was a marketing consultant, I used to put together courses in that area. And so I want to go back to delivering those to allow people to really embrace in their own time the journey. And just another way to connect with me as well, and to take a part of my wisdom and my knowledge.
Perfect. That sounds great. So you're continually progressing and moving into bigger and better things, which is wonderful. I as you probably know, do run a daily online manifesting meditation. And so I have a group of people that are already keen manifestors. So please do always share stuff with me so that I can share it with my team of people or group of people, because I'm sure they would all be interested to.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, because I know just as much as you do how powerful it is and how magical it is. And I've just come back from a holiday which I didn't have to pay for at all, which I manifested at the beginning of this year, and was a complete absolute treat. So it's amazing and I was busy. You don't always manifest it in the right way. I was busy trying to work out the best way that I could pay for it. I wasn't thinking and in my head that it would ever be for free. So I've been thoroughly spoiled. But sometimes these things happen I often find they happen in the way that you least expect, but you put out there what your intention is, and boy, can it really come back full fold, can it?
And I think that's beautiful, and that kind of really sort of sums up exactly how I feel about manifesting, because you take the how out of it, you take the resistance away, and it's quite often the resistance that kind of blocks you from receiving. And as you know, I've just come back from a holiday, and I love to play when I'm on holiday with the universe. I get very much into my playfulness. And one of the things that I had said before we left and got on the plane was, universe, what's going to be our upgrade when we get there? What is going to be the thing that surprises me and delights me? I'm going to leave that up to the universe. But
okay.
what will that be? And I love this game. And when I've played it before, Andy and I have been upgraded to honeymoon suites. We've had bottles of champagne, many different things. And so I like to leave that up to the universe and not get too specific. But it's like, what's going to surprise and delight me? What's that going to be? And we arrived at our hotel in Egypt, and the receptionist said to me, "Do you like surprises?"
Yes.
And I knew straight away. I was like, the universe is playing. And I said, yes, I love surprises. And he says, well, take a seat with your family, and I'll be over shortly. So 10 minutes later, he came over and he said, okay, so you've booked this suite for your holiday. He said, we're going to upgrade you to a different suite. And I was like, oh, and gave my husband that knowing look of course he is. Of course he is. There was going to be something. And we'd been upgraded to a suite that we'd already booked a suite with 2 bedrooms for the boys. But this suite had a huge entrance hallway. It had 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, sort of a dining area, 3 balconies, overlooked the pool. It was immense. It was just
Wow.
incredible. And it wasn't that I mean, we were like, wow, we don't need all of this space. But to see the joy in the boys' faces that, they were running around this hotel going, wow, this is incredible. And I told them how I play with the universe and how, this was manifested, and it brings, like I said, it helps bring the evidence. I used to play this game when I first started manifesting, but I used to do it with things like car parking spaces or green lights. And now I like to bring it into things like, holidays and other areas of my life where just to add that extra spark there, that extra magic. And for me, it just reinforces that the universe is listening to us, that we are powerful, and that we can create anything that we really, really, really desire. And I'm teaching that to my boys, and I want my boys to see that every day. And we went on a snorkeling trip when we were in Egypt, and I woke up in the morning, and where we were going, there's a spot where you occasionally see dolphins, but it's very rare. And so it's like, so you might see them, but not many people do. And I was like,
we do.
Yes. I'd love to see a dolphin today. Let us be in the presence and be gifted with, the wonder of the dolphins and the magic and joy that they bring. And within 10 minutes of our trip, there he was, this beautiful, beautiful, huge dolphin that just, graced us with its presence. And again, massive smile from me, looked at my husband and said, this is what I asked for. And again, but for me, it's about playfulness, and it can get really heavy when it's subjects that people have, I won't say resistance to, but that are really sort of like heavy for people. Finances, for example, because we have such a reliance on it, there can become a huge neediness around finances. And so a lot of people that come to me very often are like, I want to create this, and within that list there's always a line for creating more financial stability. And then that's when the trust element becomes really hard for people to trust that will come to them, and that there's an abundance of it, and that they're able to create that. And so a lot of the work that I do with people is really helping them to gain the evidence they need to build that confidence, to build that trust in being able to create the finances that they desire, and knowing that what comes to them at the right time, in the right way.
Absolutely. It is a big game of trust, isn't it? Particularly when you're, if it's a financial thing and you're thinking about, well, hang on, I've got no money in my bank account, I've got to pay a bill tomorrow, as a kind of like, it can be really knife edge work. But when you step into that energy of just allowing for trust, it's about how we feel, isn't it? And just really, if I can be relaxed into, I know everything's going to be paid. I just have to just accept that I don't know how it's going to be paid, or when it's going to be paid, or what format, but it will. So just if I'm sitting here stressed and anxious, I'm not in a positive and happy state in order to receive. And I think it's really important to learn that, but it can be really tough. Really,
it can. And on my website, actually, I've written my story on my money manifesting, because my husband struggled with this. As I mentioned, started my own business, so I left a very stable job. We were already in a little bit of debt then, but we worked out that we were £80,000 in debt, and it was looking very likely that I was going to have to go back to the corporate world. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't want it to happen, but we were having the conversations that that was very probable. But I didn't give up faith. I didn't give up the trust. I showed up every day for manifesting. I showed up for joyfulness, for playfulness, which used to drive my husband insane. He'd be like, "How can you?
You can't pay a bill with joy."
Yeah, how are you being so happy? And I'd be like, because I just have this real deep inner knowing. I trust. I used to have celebration moments in the shower where I used to, just say, we're debt free. And I just used to really feel it within me, what that would feel like to be debt free. And my husband used to hear me and just be like, oh my gosh, she's going insane. And then one day we received a gift. And that gift enabled us to pay part of our debt off. And it also enabled it gave me about 2 months to find a job. So there wasn't the panic there anymore. It was like, okay, I've got 2 months to find a job. We've got some money in the bank. We've managed to pay off a chunk of our debt. We're feeling a little bit more like we can breathe. A few days later, I had a phone call and a family member wanted to invest in my business.
Wow. Which
meant that I had 2 years of investment within the business to really give it a go. The week after that, my husband received a check, which basically paid off the rest of our debts. Put in money for us to have a savings account. It enabled us to finish the refurbishment we wanted to do on the house. And all of that, I kid you not, was in a 2-week period.
Wow.
And we manifested just under £250,000.
Ah!
Actually, it wasn't. I'm completely lying. It was just under £500,000.
That's vast sums of money.
Yeah. And so my husband created his own dream board.
Fantastic. You convinced him.
Yeah. And because of that, because we then created the money to enable us to buy this new house that we're in now. And because we were ready to leave our old house, and we didn't know how that was going to happen, but we then manifested £250,000 to help us do this. And so I know what is possible. And the trust for me is there, but I had to put in the hours. I had to clear blocks. I had to do the shadow work. I had to show up every day. I was doing my money manifesting for a year, and that came in. I was ready.
Yeah.
I was ready. I was open to receive at that moment. And I believe in divine timing and the universe had set in play everything that I had to go through to get there. Yeah. I had to feel that experience of being in that much debt and feeling that fear and then releasing it.
Yeah.
And then gaining the trust and the belief to enable that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a similar story for me, not financially, but for emotionally, that I had spent most of my life not in very long-term relationships and was really very keen to find love. And and it took me some time, but I manifested, but I visualized exactly the person that I wanted to be with and who I could see myself in their arms. And it was just incredibly powerful then when I first hugged them, because it was, oh, okay, this is them, this is it, this is the person. And in fact, it was almost not, I couldn't believe it. I was almost kind of like wanting to rebel against it and not be together, because it was like, oh, this isn't what I'm used to. This isn't my norm, you know. So it's funny, even though you can manifest, you still have to be able to be comfortable within it when you get what you get, you know. So otherwise you can unmanifest it at the same time. So I'm a massive in favor of all of anything to do with manifestation, because I know just how powerful it is, and I know just how powerful just it being in joy, being happy, being, you know, allowing yourself to feel that joy. And I really actively encourage that, you know, as well. It's just because I think I have, through my own experience, you can get so wrapped up in fear or in the negative, rather than allowing for that positivity and that joy.
Absolutely. And that's, you know, and that's why I said, you know, one of the things I really tap into with my manifesting clients and with the courses that I create and the workshops is the really helping people to connect with that creativity and playfulness that's attached to it. And you know, if you go into the subjects too much that you're resisting, you just kind of, you're pulling, you know, it's just like, it's like rowing upstream, isn't it? It's just like, it's harder and harder and harder. And, you know, as soon as we have that desire, it's taken care of. It's in the vortex. It's there. It's waiting for us to raise to it. And by finding joy and finding playfulness in the things that light us up, the rest is taken care of. We'll get that inspired action. We'll get that conversation that will come to us. We'll have that freak meeting with somebody that you're not expecting. They'll come, but they'll come when we're in that playful energy, even if it's a different subject.
Absolutely. Now, I'm conscious of time because I know you've got to go off and see a client, but I have just one quick question, which is why I started off all of these chats, is that my own learning and growth came from unwellness, being in disease, dis-ease and discomfort. And so my learning has been to really feel into my emotions. And that's very much still a growth area for me to continue to learn. So I ask people the question, which we hear almost every day, but I'm asking it authentically and to allow for the response to be deeper than you would normally perhaps offer to on a daily basis. But how are you?
How am I? Oh, a great question. I'm liberated. I'm feeling freer than I've ever felt before. However, there is an underlying feeling of overwhelm at the moment. And I know that is coming from a place of wanting to do it all. And I'm finding that I'm trying to balance life at the moment, trying to balance being a mum during the school holidays and work. And that sense of liberation that I keep tapping into is just giving me fire and this urgency to just want to go and do it all. And that is, causing me to feel in moments slight overwhelm in how I'm going to make all of that happen.
It will all come in the right time, in the right place, hey?
I trust.
Yeah, nice deep breath. And the school holidays are over soon, so we can get back to normality. And thank you so much for coming along today. Really appreciate the chat. We could have gone on for a lot longer, but we can do another one at another stage. And when we hear about even more of your manifestations that you've managed to do, good luck with the group. And please do, if you are in my Art of Healing group, please do share anything that you are promoting, please, at any time. More than welcome to
thank
come
you so much, and thank you for this opportunity for me to be able to share my inner sunshine and just to have the opportunity to share my stories.
Brilliant. Thank you for coming along. Have a beautiful day.
And you. Thank you.